Oh, Blanche. Oh, Blanche, if you don't come here, I'll come over. Yes, I'll come over. Yes, I'll come over. Pale hands I love, sighed the Shalimar. Now.
Oh, Steve, I'm so unhappy.
Stephen. Where were you this afternoon?
Why? Those are mine.
I know.
So you've unmasked me.
Well, I don't know whether I've unmasked you or not. But I don't know why you told the constable you weren't out this afternoon when obviously you were.
Well, to be completely honest with you, I didn't want to discuss it in front of anyone.
Well, how stupid of you. If anyone had seen you, you would have made it very awkward for all of us. Where were you?
Professor,
Blanche, would you be good enough to leave us?
Let's stop sparring. You're angry because I took Blanche out. You're angry because since I've been home, Blanche and I have gotten to know each other pretty well.
You know, Stephen, you always did smirk, even when you were a child. It's one of the things my father disliked about you.
He was my father, too. You know, I'm inclined to think that Father was disappointed in both of us. Neither of us fitted his concept of what a real man should be, a gun-toting, hard-drinking, tough-living, God-fearing citizen. He always used to say, the strong survived, the weak died. How wrong he was, Albert. Because you and I, the meek, have inherited the earth.
I'll be honest with you, Stephen. I don't like you. I never have. I've never trusted you. And you're quite right when you say that I don't like this interest you have in Blanche. And I'll tell you something else. I've had the responsibility of your mother, not mine, for years. I'm tired and strained. Therefore, I think we should make a decision. Either you make up your mind to go away permanently, or if you like, you stay, let me go.
Helen, you look as though you lost your best friend. You got nothing to worry about. If anybody tried in their funny business on you, I'd soon sock them in the jaw. Look at it this way, Helen. Murder's like a $1 million lottery. Sure it is, listen. You pick up the newspaper. You see someone's picture who's won $1 million. You pick up another paper. There's a picture of someone who's been murdered. There's never me. There's never you. It's always somebody else, isn't it?
There's safety in numbers, Helen. There's Oates and me and the professor and Stephen. We'll look after you.
And there's Carlton, too.
Shouldn't count too much on him.
And there's Nurse Barker. She'd be as good as any man. In fact, sometimes I think she is a man.
In case you're interested, there's someone at the front door.
What do you want?
I was called to see Mrs. Warren.
It's Dr. Parry. Was he called?
I suppose they called Dr. Harvey first. You mean Mrs. Warren asked for me? Well, I've got me a patient now. I'm glad I was called, Helen. I've wanted to have a long talk with you. And I'm going to before I leave.
How are you, Dr. Parry?
I'm fine. How are you, Mrs. Warren?
Did you know my husband?
No, I didn't, Mrs. Warren.
Of course not. He died years before you came here. You're a little like him. Firm step, strong hand, good eyes.
Thank you. I know you were very fond of him.
He told me I wasn't as beautiful as his first wife, but I was a much better shot. The only kind of beauty he had any respect for was strength. And he had 2 sons, both weaklings. They hated guns and hunting. He used to run away from them, Dr. Perry. Well, he got his release from a bottle. He died as he lived, happily, extravagantly.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no. You mustn't be. You mustn't be sorry for him.
You should try to get some rest, Mrs. Warren.
Yes, I know. I talk too much. I talk too much. Get Helen out of this house.
Why?
Because I know you love her. Take her away. Promise me you'll take her away from here.
Very well. I promise.
Take her away tonight. It's money you need. I'll get it for you. Oh. Oh.
Get me the ether, Helen. Did you get it? I'll go ask Nurse Barker. Come in, please, nurse. Will you get me the ether? Helen can't seem to find it.
It was used about an hour ago. Where did you put it? Let's have another look. It's gone now, and you're the only people who've been in this room today. Unless, Mrs. Warren.
You took the ether, Barker?
Why, I did no such thing. You always make me sit outside.
Never mind. Maybe Professor Warren will know about it. I'll go and see him.
Here. Where's my brandy?
I finished it for your own good.
Well, I wish you'd stop doing things for my own good.
With everything that's happening in this house, it's better that you keep your wits about you.
I'm never more witty than when I've had a little nip. I see better, I hear better, and I feel much better.
Oates, would you mind coming out a moment and bring your hat and coat?
There it is. Emma, let's be serious for a minute. I want you to stay awake until I get back. Keep an eye on Helen. I won't be long.
I could keep a much better eye on Helen if I'd had a little nip.
I can't understand. Ether was used less than 2 hours ago. Stephen used it, and he said Helen gave it to him.
Unfortunately, I have no other supply.
Oates, I'm afraid you'll have to go into the village for some ether.
Stormy out, Albert. Does it have to be done?
If it didn't have to be done, I wouldn't ask you.
All right, I'll go.
You won't find any in the village. I tried to get some this morning.
I have to go all the way to Morristown. It'll take hours.
Well, I'm sorry. It's an emergency. We have to have it.
Yes, you're sorry, but I have to go.
You should have some other stimulant at hand in the meantime.
Brandy?
That will do.
I'll get a bottle. Oh, will you ask Helen to come to the kitchen for it?
Yeah.
Mrs. Oates,
Yes, sir?
come along with me while I get a bottle of brandy.
Yes, sir. Oh, dear. Now I've done it.
Did you bring a match?
No, sir.
Oh, well, never mind. Perhaps I have one. Oh, here we are.
I I think it rolled over there, sir.
I'll take it this time, Mrs. Oates.
Your keys, sir. Oh, my. Did I put one over on him? Easy as taking candy from a baby. Take a tip from me, Helen. If you ever carry the candle to the cellar for the professor and you fancy a bottle of his fine old brandy, just throw the candle to one side. Accidentally, on purpose, of course. Anything can happen in the dark. Presto. Now, I'll just wipe this off and you can take it to Dr. Parry.
Helen, come into the den. I want to talk to you. Mrs. Warren's asleep. Professor Warren's with her now. I've been thinking things over. And Mrs. Warren's right. You should come with me tonight. You can stay at my mother's place until we can make arrangements to go to Boston. My mother will like you. I don't want to frighten you, Helen, but you heard Mrs. Warren a while ago. Her mind's growing steadily worse, and I'm afraid she may become violent. She seems obsessed by the idea that you get out of this house. And there may be something back of it. You'll go with me tonight. There are doctors in Boston who know all about your case. I want to take you there. Helen, when I left you this afternoon, I dropped in at the Fabers. They have a guest visiting them from your hometown. Mrs. Lindstrom. You know her? Well, she told me a story about a girl. A girl who was on her way home from school one day. She had good news for her parents. When she wasn't far from her home, she heard a fire engine rushing down the street. She started to run. When she turned the corner, she saw that it was her home that was in flames. There was a crowd outside. She wanted to scream herself, but somehow she couldn't. She tried to rush into the house, but was held back because it was hopeless. So, without being able to do one thing to help, she saw her mother and father burned to death. I'm sorry, Helen, but I had to do it. It's only because I wanted to help you. Go over everything that happened that day. Have the courage to see it all again. And by not blocking it out of your mind, you may find your voice again. I don't like being an outsider, and you shouldn't either. I know what I'm talking about because I'm an outsider here myself. A lot of people don't want me. They want me to quit, but I won't. Because there's at least one person who wants me here, and that's good enough for me. And there's one person who wants you to talk, and that ought to be good enough for you. Look at me. Look at me. You remember how wonderful it was when you had a voice? When you could say hello or thank you? When you could yell back at someone who started picking at you? I do it all the time. You look at me as though you don't believe it, but I know I'm right. Try to talk! Try it! Try it!
Excuse me. My mother is asking for you, Helen.
I'll speak to Professor Warren about your leaving.
What is this about Helen leaving?
I'll discuss it with your brother.
Is it something you can't discuss with me? Why is she leaving? Where is she going?
Well, I've been doing a great deal of thinking about Helen. I know her condition is due to shock. I'm sure a new mental therapy can restore her voice. I'd like to take her to Boston.
Don't you think you're taking a tremendous responsibility, building up her hopes, making her think there's some miracle in store for her?
It's up to her, not you.
What you're doing is cruel and foolish. That girl is adjusted to her affliction. I think you should let it go at that.
Suppose you let me mind my own business.
It so happens I don't think much of your business, Dr. Perry. If there is a solution to Helen's problem, I think that solution ought to be in the hands of someone other than a country hick doctor.
The only thing that keeps me from cracking you in the jaw is the almost certain possibility that would break your neck.
What's the trouble, Doctor?
The good country doctor, having lost his wits, is about to resort to his fists.
Professor Warren, I know you're interested in Helen's welfare. I've told you what I've learned about her, and I've decided it's for her best interest that she leave here tonight.
Tonight?
Yes, she can stay at my mother's place until we can take her to Boston for the examination first thing in the morning.
Well, Doctor, you know that I agree with you about the element of hope that you have for Helen, but what's your reason for suddenly making her leave tonight?
Well, Mrs. Warren feels that she's in danger here.
Well, surely you don't take the ramblings of a sick woman seriously.
I take most things seriously.
But, Doctor, there are many other considerations. Helen needs this position. It's her only means of support. No family. It won't be easy for her to...
I've thought of all those things, Professor. I intend to take care of her.
Oh, I see. Well, I'm very glad for you and for her.
You're a sentimentalist, Doctor. Tell me, are your humanitarian instincts restricted only to people with serious afflictions?
You're very insolent.
Dr. Perry.